What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and to another Overwatch League news video. And today we have some big time news that has dropped as the Dallas Fuel have made a trade with the Paris Eternal for both Sp9rkle and Hanbin, and to add on to it, they also signed their head coach Rush. But sadly, if you're a Paris Eternal fan, the bad news does not end there, as the rest of the coaching staff has also been let go of, meaning there's no more Aid, there's no more Levi as he decided to retire and serve mandatory military service back in Korea, and Sp9rkle is also gone and he is actually the new head coach of the Philly Fusion. So much has happened all in one day. The Paris Eternal are falling apart and the Dallas Fuel are making big time strides towards potentially no longer being a joke at the Overwatch League level. Now, if you've been keeping up on social media, you probably would have already been aware of all of the leaks and the rumors and the speculation going on over the last 24 hours between these two teams, but it still doesn't feel real at all. Like, even if you were bracing for impact and you kind of expected this to happen, it still just feels absurd to realize it's actually true and it happened. Just realistically thinking about it, it felt like such an unlikely outcome that something like this would play out, you know? The Paris Eternal had it made. They finished top 4 in the regular season standings. They even won the Summer Showdown finals while beating the Shock and Philly along the way. Everything just felt like it was clicking for Paris, and they had such a bright future to come with all of these amazing young superstars. But now they got rid of two of their big time pieces that they signed over the 2020 offseason, just out of the blue. All that's left of that Element Mystic trio they signed that carried their team is Exy, and for all we know, he could be gone too. For the time being, it looks like he's safe and he will be on the Paris roster, and I highly doubt he's going to Dallas, but I still think the likelihood of him being traded or released or something is pretty high. And the reason I'm saying that is because, like I said, they already got rid of Sp9rkle and Hanbin. They got rid of their entire coaching staff, which was Korean. They got rid of Fielder as well. They didn't decide to bring him back, so it really does look like Paris are done with the South Korean route potentially after just one season, even though it worked so well. But the question is, why? Why are the Paris Eternal doing this? Well, I obviously don't know. I'm not an insider. But I would guess that it's probably like one of three things. One, the most obvious thing is they probably just don't have the money. It's like a Valiant or a Spitfire situation, let's say, where they just got to start over because they don't have the budget. It's crucial to keep in mind that Paris, like many other Overwatch League teams this year, did not get to make a profit off of homestands because they all got canceled. So that in turn made it so they did not have the potential budget they were looking to have this year. So they weren't able to bring these guys back or build around them for that matter. So if that really is the case and Paris was suffering from budget issues, then this makes a lot of sense. While these guys are young and they're worth a lot still, get rid of them. You could get a boatload of cash from them, obviously. They have such high ceilings. Sp9rkle in particular has the potential to become one of the best DPS players in the world. Dallas was honestly the perfect trading partner because they're not afraid to spend money. They have money. They can do that. So I bet Paris was able to get a king's ransom off of those two. I feel like this is the most realistic explanation as to why they decided to get away from these Korean players. That just seems like it makes the most sense to me because we've seen other teams do it in the past, but it could be maybe because there was a disagreement between them and a lot of their players and the coaching and they just wanted to part ways. Again, I doubt that because Paris is a really good org, but you never know. Explanation number 3 I have that also seems very, very unlikely is that the Paris Eternal don't want to have a Korean core anymore. I know this sounds really dumb because why would they bother signing a Korean core this year if they were going to ditch them, but sometimes people have a change of heart. As most of you can recall, at least if you're a fan back in Season 2, Paris wanted to go the route of being full EU. That's what they wanted to do. They wanted to not just represent all of France, but they wanted to represent Europe as a whole. Could that be something they're interested in trying again? Maybe. Maybe both reasons 1 and 3 go hand in hand. Because they don't have a lot of money, they figure, why not just go EU again and get some EU budget players? I could see it happening. I guess we'll find out more what's going to happen with Paris as tomorrow happens and as the week progresses, because that's when we'll see who they sign in free agency and what they do with the contracts of Soon, Ben Best, and Nico, as well as what they might do with Exy. I'm really sorry, Paris fans. I know that this year was really awesome. It ended in a pretty disappointing way, but it was still a really fun season nonetheless, with lots of highs and not that many lows. But now you're starting over from scratch again, and I can't blame you at all if you're sad, angry, or just very worried in general. Alright, Dallas fans, the rest of this video is dedicated to you. Let's talk about the Fuel and this big time, colossal change they're going through. I've said it multiple times in the past when criticizing Dallas that this is what I've always wanted them to do. I could not be happier with this decision making. I see it like this. You've tried going mixed for 3 straight years and it's been nothing but failure left and right. Your team has never really done anything great and your fans are tired of losing and suffering. So this is the play. Try something totally new and out of left field and see if it works. Sometimes you got to take a risk, and this seems like a good risk to take considering that you already signed signed two fantastic players with very bright futures, plus one of the best coaches in the Overwatch League. Plus they held on to Doha, who was another bright future type of player, plus he already has synergy with the coach you have and the two players you brought in. They all were on Element Mystic together back in the day, and they won a championship together. Now, is there a chance that Dallas could still partially go with a Western roster of some sort? Yeah, sure, but I doubt it considering the fact that they already have 4 Korean people on there to begin with, and all of them are from Element Mystic, and they've been talking all about Element Mystic, so I feel like this is not the end of former Element Mystic players, plus current ones potentially joining the team. I mean, think about it. They could fill out the rest of the holes on their roster with former Element Mystic players or current ones. They could get the flex support MCD. I've heard a lot of good things about him. They could get the former Element Mystic main support who now plays for Team Diamond, Unique. Or perhaps they want to get some veterans like Sp9rkle. They both played on Element Mystic together, and now the Houston Outlaws got rid of both of them. They could go in a different direction, but at main tank they could consider signing Pokebo. He was a former Element Mystic player, and back in Season 2 on Atlanta, he was a pretty darn good player, and even during his Element Mystic days, he was considered to be part of one of the best tank lines, so I could definitely see Dallas giving him a shot. But the big question mark I have is mostly at DPS. I think they're going to find a way to get everything figured out and situated at support and tank and everything, but DPS I do have a little bit of a concern, not because Sp9rkle and Doha won't cut it or anything, it's more that their hero pools are very similar to each other. Doha used to be more of a hit scan player back in the day, but once he joined Dallas, he was a flex. I guess they could try and transition him back, but I kind of feel like he's going to stay as a flex as well, and maybe just pick up the things that Sp9rkle can't play, like Sombra, for example. Even if Doha was to go back to being a hit scan player for the most part, I really think that the Fuel should be addressing hit scan anyway and try and get another prospect at that position, whether it be someone from contenders or maybe some sort of veteran on the free agent market. Could you imagine if Dallas maybe signed like Happy if he were to not go back to the charge? That would be pretty sick. Or what about Glister? Dallas already made one big trade, so they might not have the money to make another big one, but maybe they could end up making a trade with London happen for Glister. That would be pretty cool too. The point I'm trying to make is there are options out there at hitscan DPS for Dallas. I just hope that they don't mess it up and they can actually sign someone so they aren't left with a massive hole on this team. And that's pretty much everything I have to say regarding the Dallas Fuel making these trades and what their roster could be looking like moving forward. We'll find out more soon enough as free agency is about to begin, but overall, I would say that this has the potential to easily be the best Dallas Fuel roster, and it's not even close. However, if this team looks super solid on paper, it is worth noting that this is going to be a high pressure year for the Dallas Fuel. I mean, more than usual. The Dallas fans are going to be expecting a lot out of them. They are sick and tired of losing, as I mentioned earlier in this video. They've been suffering for 3 years now, and they just want to see their team do well. Some Dallas fans might not have high expectations because they're so used to losing, but you have to remember that the Dallas Fuel fan base is one of the most passionate out there, so a lot of people are still going to hold this team accountable for a lot. They notice that you are going all in potentially, so you better deliver or you're going to have some very upset fans on your hands, Dallas management. They're going to be calling for your heads if you somehow disappoint and mess this up. I'll be pretty mad too. This is your best opportunity yet. With great power comes great responsibility. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up this news video. What do you guys think of the Dallas Fuel and Paris Eternal making these trades? And what do you think the futures of these two franchises have in store for us? Let me know down in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. It would mean a lot to me. And if you're new around here, you should definitely consider subscribing because we are on the eve of free agency beginning and a lot of crazy stuff is sure to be going down. So if you don't want to miss out on all of it, hit that subscribe button and enable notifications by clicking that bell. And as always, thanks so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, this is ATP signing out. Peace.